Hello, everyone. It's Michaela Valletta, also known as the Body Scientist. And in case you don't know me, I am an exercise physiologist, sports scientist, sports nutritionist, strength and conditioning coach. And I've committed my life, dedicated my life to studying all the ways that we can take our body to its highest level. Okay. And this is through nutrition, this is through what we put in our body, on our body. Okay, including our minds, all right? It all matters. So, as you can tell from the title, today I want to talk about raw milk, a very controversial issue. Raw milk politics and demystifying or debunking some of the raw milk myths. And I want to speak about access because I get asked this a lot from my followers. I recorded this video yesterday on Instagram and Instagram Live, and I wanted to download it and repost it here, but the video didn't download, so I have to record it all over again. So some of you might have seen this yesterday on my Instagram page. Here it goes again. If you don't follow me on Instagram, be sure to follow me at _body_scientist. And yeah, okay. So make sure you follow me here on YouTube and Instagram because I don't always post the same things. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm a huge advocate of raw milk. I've been drinking raw milk for over a decade. And I've been drinking raw milk for over a decade. And for years, everywhere I went in the U.S., I would try to get raw milk. And the laws for raw milk are different in every state, okay? Now, the access to raw milk is becoming... the access is increasing. It's better now than it was 10 years ago. Okay, 10 years ago there were many states where you couldn't get it, where now you can. So just like everything that is really good for us, they try to tell us it's bad for us. Okay, many cultures around the world have consumed animals' milk, whether it's cow's milk, goat's milk, sheep's milk, camel's milk. Okay, raw milk is a very nourishing food. It's totally different than homogenized pasteurized milk. I have a YouTube video that I did on here back in 2012, which is almost 8 years ago now, where I'm speaking about raw milk and honey and the benefits. And I have a video where I'm talking about the plant milks and how it's not as good. I will post those videos below on this YouTube video. Make sure to check them out as well. I won't get so in depth with that. But quickly, I will say that raw milk is an excellent source of whey protein, which is the best protein for our muscle recovery and building. It is full of CLA and MCT fats, which are critically important for our immune system, for our brain, and they help us burn fat. It also has carbohydrates. It has, which is lactose. And you don't need to make the lactase enzyme because the lactase enzyme is already in the milk, okay? So raw milk, this is a gallon. I already started drinking a little bit of it that I got here in Chicago. Hi, John from Ireland. I want you to let me know if you can find raw milk in Ireland because I want to talk about Europe too. So the raw milk is very high in the lipase enzyme, the amylase enzyme, and the lactase enzyme, okay? So the lipase enzyme helps you digest fat. The lactase enzyme helps you to digest the lactose, right? And so, and also has naturally occurring probiotics, which I talk about all the time. Probiotics are first line of defense against infectious organisms. Probiotics also help us to digest food, including this milk, right? And so raw milk, which is right out the cow, or right out whatever animal you're consuming it from. I like cow's milk. A lot of people think that it's going to be disgusting. A lot of people think, oh, it's going to be thick and nasty and gross. And they're like, ew, how could you drink that? But I've never met anybody, okay, who has not loved it, okay? I've never met anybody who didn't like it. I know people who didn't even like milk. They weren't even milk drinkers, and they consumed raw milk, and they loved it, okay? As a nutritionist, I have recommended many clients consume raw milk. All of them have consumed it for years with no negative effects. As a nutritionist, I meet a lot of people who tell me they're lactose intolerant, And like I said, but when I ask people if they've ever been diagnosed with lactose intolerance, they always tell me no. They tell me, oh, when I drink milk, I get a stomach ache. So they self-diagnose themselves as lactose intolerant. But same thing with the ice cream. I always tell people, your stomach is probably hurting because you're consuming bad milk. You're consuming bad ice cream that is processed and has chemicals in it. And that's what's making you sick, okay? But if you consume raw milk, which has all the enzymes and the good bacteria and all of the proteins intact, it's a totally different food. Also, when you consume raw milk, it comes from grass-fed cows. Cows are supposed to be outside, getting sunlight, eating grass. This is one of the things I talked about that I saw in Amsterdam that I loved. I also saw this in California. When I'm taking the bus from LA to the Bay, when I'm taking the bus from LA to the Bay, I've seen miles of cows grazing on the grass, right? But then you also see miles of monocrops of the same species of orange growing for miles in the same soil, which is very bad for the soil and very bad for biodiversity. Monocropped produce is bad. So in a place like California, you better off drinking the milk. The milk is better than the produce, okay? So keep that in mind. The soil and the conditions in which our food is grown, whether it's a plant or an animal, has everything to do with the nutritional value of that food, okay? So everybody I know that, they think raw milk is going to be gross, and they always like it. They always say, oh, this tastes like what milk is supposed to taste like. And you might not have even known what that was before until you taste this. So it's like naturally creamy. It's not thick and gross like people think, right? So I'll pour some in here in this glass. You really can't see too well. Okay, got a little bit. You can't really see. I wish I had a camera. You can't really see, but I don't know how good of a demo this is. So good. Now, John, you say Ireland is good for cows. Can I find raw milk in Ireland? Because I couldn't find raw milk when I was in Europe. I'm going to talk about that actually, because let me get into the raw milk in Europe. Now, first let me talk about America. So I'm from New York City, and well, every state has different laws about raw milk, and actually it's kind of hard to find around the world. But both my parents told me, my dad's from Florida, my mom is from Western Pennsylvania, close to Pittsburgh. They both told me they had a milkman that brought them milk when they were growing up. My dad's 77 and my mom is 70. They both had milkmen delivering milk to them. And in New York, I get my raw milk from a CSA. So it's a site called uttermilk.com. You have to become a member. It's free. And they deliver once a week. And this site has more than just raw milk. They have raw honeys. They have pasture eggs. They have all kinds of good meats. They have broths, fermented foods, all kinds of stuff on this. And they deliver once a week to the different boroughs, right? So there might be like one day, like maybe they deliver to Manhattan on Wednesday and Brooklyn on Thursday during a certain time, and they'll come deliver your milk. Or they give you an option of picking it up. They have different pickup locations at different days and times. In Chicago, where I live now, I get my milk from an Amish market. Oh, I forgot to show you. This is also the raw cream that I use. Okay, this is raw heavy cream, so good. This is what I put in my tea. I used to be a coffee drinker. I'm not a coffee drinker anymore. When I drank coffee, I used to use this raw cream, which for some reason you can only find in the north. Like in Florida and stuff, I've never seen this raw cream, this heavy cream. And Caribbean, like Spanish-speaking people from Colombia and the Caribbean, they don't seem to have heavy cream either. So this may be a cold weather thing, and heavy cream is the best, okay? And only cows make this. You can't get goat's cream. Goats don't make cream, which is one reason why I love cow's milk. But now I don't drink coffee. I drink tea in the morning. I drink tea from South America called yerba mate, or I drink a good chai or matcha to get my caffeine, and I like to make it with the heavy cream. Superfoods. So in Chicago, I get it from an Amish market in a neighborhood called Ukrainian Village, which is next to another neighborhood called Humboldt Park, which is a heavily Puerto Rican neighborhood. But the Amish market I get my raw milk from in Chicago is owned by Russians. I don't really understand why that is. I don't know if the Russians bought it from the Amish, because there aren't any Amish in Chicago. The Amish are in Pennsylvania. So that's the thing about Philly, where you can easily find raw milk in Philadelphia because of the Amish. You can find it at Reading Terminal, which is like downtown. It's like right next to the Greyhound station. You go hop off the dusty-ass Greyhound bus, go around the corner, and grab raw milk from the Amish, okay? They also have it at like local, like I've been in the hood in West Philly, and there's like a CSA store that had raw milk. So you could easily find it. I also lived in Pittsburgh before 10 years ago, and I cannot remember if I got raw milk when I lived in Pittsburgh. I do not recall. But usually you could easily find it. I have clients in other parts of Pennsylvania who find raw milk pretty easily. And that's because of the Amish, thanks to the Amish. When I lived in Atlanta, I got raw milk from the farmer's market. I think it was the East Atlanta farmer's market. I lived in Atlanta in 2012. In Atlanta and Florida, I've gotten it in Fort Lauderdale. Those states, Florida and Georgia, had, I don't know if the laws have changed, but this is the last I knew. Their laws said, and there are certain states that say that you can sell raw milk for pet consumption only. So it'll say that on the label, raw milk for pet consumption only. And that scares people because they're like, oh my God, it's for pet consumption only. I'm going to die. The thing is that the reason why that is because veterinarians and people who care about animals, because they care more about the animals than they do about us, they know that if cats and dogs consume homogenized pasteurized milk, they will be infertile in 3 generations, okay? It really messes them up. And you see it pretty quickly because cats and dogs have shorter lifespans. There was a study called Pottinger's Cats, and you can look it up, where a scientist, Pottinger, gave homogenized pasteurized milk to cats, and by the 3rd generation, they were infertile, okay? By the 3rd generation, these cats were infertile from drinking homogenized pasteurized milk. So they're like, they know that it damages the cats and dogs. So like, you can't give the cats and dogs, homogenized pasteurized milk, but they give it to us. Now, homogenization and pasteurization requires that you heat the milk at a really high temperature twice. Both homogenization and pasteurization requires extremely high heat temperatures to kill the bacteria. That's what pasteurization does. And the homogenization process is to make it one fluid liquid. Because as you see, I had the cream, which is up here. Then you can't see in the raw milk, but you see like a little layer of cream on top. Homogenization is to make it one fluid liquid with no separation of the cream. And to do that, they heat it at very high temperature that really destructs. It totally destructs the chemical composition of the milk. It makes it toxic, okay? So that's why a lot of people have a problem with homogenized pasteurized milk. Also, another reason why they heat it at such high temperatures is because homogenized pasteurized milk is coming from the commercial food industry. All food from the commercial food industry is bad, whether it's plant or animals, okay? When you're drinking milk from the commercial food industry, it's coming from cows that, oh wow, hold on. It's coming from cows that are not eating grass. The cows are only supposed to eat grass, really. They're being fed all kinds of stuff. You know, the commercial food industry might be feeding the cows chickens and other cows and other whatever. Cows are not supposed to eat meat or animals. They just eat grass. They're not supposed to be eating, you know, freaking broccoli, okay? They're grass eaters. And cows take that grass and they take the nutrients in the grass and make it nutrients for us. Because if we ate grass, we would get sick and die. We cannot eat grass. We are not, try to eat grass and see what happens. The cows, this is the lovely thing about biology, they transform that grass into food that we can eat, and the milk and the meat of the cows, okay? This is why grass-fed cow fat and the meat and the milk from grass-fed cows is so highly nutritious, okay? And so this is why they do it. Now, in America, there are only 3 states, and again, these laws could have changed because I haven't been up on it, but the last that I knew and checked, there were 3 states in America where you could actually buy raw milk in the store. And that is California, New Mexico, and Connecticut. Where I'm from in New York, I'm like in between New York and Chicago. Where I'm from in New York, I'm like, Connecticut is like a 15-minute drive from me, from Harlem, right? Upper Harlem, Washington Heights. But I don't really spend much time in Connecticut. It's not a state I've really spent much time in. But in California, I've gotten raw milk in LA and the Bay Area. They don't sell it at Whole Foods. They don't sell it at every supermarket. But in California, I would get it at a place called Sprouts. That's one store. It's like a California chain that's like Whole Foods, but I like it better. And then there are other little stores, and you can find it. You can go look at realmilk.com. Realmilk.com is a site that tells you where you can find raw milk in different states. And even though it's legal, it's been legal in California to sell raw milk in supermarkets, still the farmers were getting harassed by the police, state patrol, whatever. There were reports of the sheriff or the police or whoever pulling over farmers and pouring out all the raw milk on the highway and taking their money. And then you do that, and then the people who depend on this raw milk week after week can't get it. And when that has happened, when they have been raided and, robbed, there have been parents writing the farmers like, my child needs this raw milk. My child's asthma is only better when they drink raw milk. And despite what people think, raw milk actually helps to cure asthma and different bronchial issues and autoimmune issues. There are numerous studies about that. So when people say that milk causes mucus and everything, that's not true with raw milk. Another thing that's not true, and also like Whole Foods doesn't sell raw milk, but a lot of Whole Foods, like in the country, like I've seen this in Chicago, New York, maybe New Orleans and DC, where they'll sell, there's like some kind of Amish milk that they sell in Whole Foods that is lightly pasteurized and non-homogenized. Lightly pasteurized and non-homogenized. So that's not raw, but it's like the next best thing. Okay. But what was I gonna say? I'll make sure I get all my points. Also, one of the myths about raw milk is that Africans don't drink raw milk. Africans can't drink milk. Well, Africans can't drink milk. Africans are lactose intolerant. Africans can't digest milk. And I find it really funny because I have a lot of African friends, but one of my friends, Cameroonian girl, lives in DC. She grew up in Cameroon until she was 16. She's solid, okay? She has stronger bones and a stronger body than most people I've ever come across, than most men, okay? She could take most dudes and throw them across the football field. She said she grew up drinking milk in Cameroon, okay? And I think the milk she drank in Cameroon was raw because I think it was coming from a farm, but she drank milk growing up. Another Nigerian friend of mine, I don't even think one of them in New York, I don't know if I think he told me he didn't grow up drinking milk, but he got into the raw milk years ago. I got him hooked on it, and he would be getting gallons. Every time I placed to put in an order, he'd be like, put me in an order, he would come get milk, and he loved the goat's milk. Then he had a Senegalese friend who I'm not good with the Muslim holidays or the holidays, but I think I don't know if it was Ramadan. It was some type of holiday, Muslim holiday, where I don't know if she was fasting or something, and this woman wanted raw milk, and I think that she said she drank raw milk in Senegal. She drank milk in Senegal. Now, the neighborhood I live in Chicago has a lot of Africans, East Africans and West Africans. I see Africans all the time in my neighborhood in Chicago carrying gallons of milk from the regular supermarket. Just regular milk from the regular supermarket all the time. I don't even drink that milk, but they're drinking it and they seem fine. Then I have another Nigerian friend of mine who he told me, and he grew up in Nigeria. He told me he drank milk. This dude is 6'4", okay? He's 6'4", solid body, like so perfectly put together, never broke a bone in his body. Everything is perfect on him, his teeth, his bone structure, like perfect specimen, okay? He told me that he drank milk in Nigeria growing up, okay? And then he came here for college to Howard University. And he says that he eats ice cream every single day, like me. Whoop, whoop. See, people always asking me, how you have a body like that and you eat ice cream? I'm telling people my body is like this because I eat so much ice cream. Y'all think I'm joking. I'm not joking. Look at my video. Ice cream is a health food. I'm going to put it below. So just check out my videos below, okay? So he told me he eats ice cream every day. He drinks milk every day. He said every time he's done with his workout, he has a big glass of milk. And I'm like, yeah, because every time I'm done with my workout, and before, sometimes I have a raw milk shake. I put raw milk, kefir, some fruit, maybe some maca, maybe an egg yolk if I need extra protein. And he just drinks a big glass of regular store-bought milk, not even raw milk. So I had to put him on and tell him, he lives in California. I'm like, you can easily get raw milk in California. It's so easy. But he tried my raw milk. He didn't drink my whole gallon in a day. Like, he's kept pouring big glasses of my milk. Okay. And we were laughing at the fact that Black people over here, Black people in America, the Caribbean, Indian Americas are always promoting this myth that Africans don't drink milk and can't drink milk. That's not true. The Maasai basically live off of milk and blood. Okay. Now, one of the myths is that like the vegan community propaganda likes to push is that, oh, raw milk is mucus and blah, 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 blah. And it's mucus forming. Totally not true. Raw milk is not mucus. Okay. That's a lie. So you think that when mothers have babies, they're giving their baby mucus? Does that make sense? Mucus is not a nourishing substance. It's not something that people consume or that any animal consumes. When we're born, we're not drinking our mother's mucus, dummy. If we were doing that, then your mother could blow snot in your mouth. Like, mucus and milk is not the same thing. So that's one huge myth that's so stupid. If anything, milk is more similar to blood, okay? Chemically. And if you think about it, when we have our period every month. Then when a woman gives birth, no more period. Now you have blood. She has milk coming out of her breast, right? So it's like that blood is transformed into milk. Milk and blood both carry information, genetic information, okay? They have a lot of immune cells and stuff like that. So chemically, milk is more similar chemically to blood, okay? Not mucus. Milk nourishes. Milk and eggs are meant to nourish an organism. So they're full of nutrition. Now, when people say things like, oh, but humans are the only ones that still drink milk, or humans are the only ones that drink another animal's milk, or humans are the only ones that drink milk as adults, and it's like, first of all, that's not true, but secondly, so what? Why is that relevant? You know why? Let's critically think for a second. Humans are also the only ones that wear clothes and jewelry and eyeglasses and get our hair done. Humans are also the only ones that live in houses and apartments. Humans are also the only ones that drive cars, okay? Humans are also the only ones that build buildings, that bake cakes and have birthday parties. I mean, come on. Like, so what? You know, there's a lot of things that humans, besides drinking milk, that humans are the only ones that do it. Humans are the only ones putting on suits and diving in the ocean where we shouldn't be. Humans are the only ones getting on airplanes, flying around the world. Do we see other animals hopping on planes? No. Okay, so humans do a lot of things that other animals don't do. And perhaps it's because we eat cooked food and drink raw milk, which makes our brains better and smarter. Now, I don't think that humans are smarter than wild animals. I'm not saying that. But there's different kinds of intelligence. They got some intelligence we don't have. We got some intelligence they don't have. And that's that, right? Now, the fact of the matter is, societies, there are many milk drinking societies around the world. There are many societies around the world who've been consuming milk for thousands of years, and they have thrived on it for thousands of years. And that's what matters to me. I feel like there's so much we can learn from the people that came before us, who were healthier than us, who were more connected to nature with us, and they lived in harmony with nature. And there's a way to consume milk and meat and vegetables and whatever else you want to eat that's in harmony. You don't ever want to exploit the land or exploit the animals, or you don't want to do that. So there's a way, and that's the reason why it's so important to shop at farmers markets and support local farmers, because raw milk is coming from local farms where they have standards, they have sanitary practices, and the animals are healthy, okay? When you have milk from a commercial food industry, the animals are not being fed what they're supposed to naturally eat, which affects the nutritional composition of their meat and milk. Then they're stressed out. They don't get to get exercise. They don't get sunlight. They're living in unsanitary conditions on top of each other. So now they have to give them antibiotics and fill them with drugs, okay? So the meat and the milk from commercial cows is totally different. Now, even though I know that that commercial milk is not as good for you, when I drink it, it doesn't bother me. Like if I go to Starbucks and I get my matcha tea, they're not using raw milk. So whenever you're out in the world, they're not using raw milk. It doesn't bother me though. Even though I know it's not the best, it's not the most nutritious. And when I buy milk, I seek raw milk. But if I'm out and I drink something with milk that's not raw, it doesn't bother me, you know? But for those of you who it does bother you, try raw milk, because I have never, ever, ever, ever seen somebody have a problem with it. Now, I'm trying to make sure I say everything, because I did this video yesterday on Instagram, and I want to make sure I make all my points because it was so perfect yesterday. Are raw milk baths beneficial? Yes, yes, and yes. I use you can do a raw milk bath, and actually raw milk never goes bad. That's another thing. Homogenized pasteurized milk will go bad. Raw milk doesn't go bad. I talk about this in my other videos. I don't want to, like, I'm going to post it below. But raw milk sours. So, like, after a week, it starts to sour. That's how you get sour cream and yogurt and cheeses, from soured milk. Soured milk is more medicinal. It doesn't taste good to just consume soured milk, but it is more medicinal. So what I do with it is when I'm cooking eggs, I'll pour a little bit of the soured milk in it. Any recipe that calls for milk, you can use soured milk. I don't really make pancakes like that, but if you make pancakes, I make French toast sometimes. I'll put a little bit of the soured milk. I use the soured milk for that. The soured milk is also good for your skin. Like, I take soured cream, like this cream, you know, like if I don't consume it fast enough and I get to here in a week, it's going to start to sour. I can cook with that, but I can also take it and make a scrub with sea salt and soured milk, and I'll scrub my skin in honey. This shit makes it, my skin is already soft, because you guys know I'm so picky about the soap and the things I use to moisturize my skin. So my skin is already really soft, but you take one of those scrubs, you know, some sea salt, some honey, and some soured milk or soured cream, and scrub. It makes your skin so soft and moisturized that you just like, oh my God, I don't want to touch myself. Oh my God. Now, milk has alpha hydroxy acids, and that's what is really nourishing to the skin, is the alpha hydroxy acids, which if you buy beauty products in the store, they add that stuff in there. Why buy that when you can get it from nature? You always want to get it in its natural state, because companies like to take these things and make chemical isolations and formulate the shit, and it's not how it occurs in nature. Our body utilizes things much better when it's in its natural state, you know, with everything that it comes with, and not when you isolate and try to isolate and formulate. There's something different, okay? And that's what they try to do. They don't want, you know, everything that's good for us, they don't want us to have access to it. Now, I went to Europe because my real interest in Europe was the food. And I only went to London, Amsterdam, Paris, and Madrid. I did not get a chance to go to Italy. But when I was in Amsterdam, and then of course there's a whole bunch of other countries. I was supposed to go to Italy, but I missed my flight. But in Amsterdam, I heard that you can find raw milk at a farmer's market on Saturdays, but I wasn't there long enough to get it. But I'm going back to Amsterdam next month, and I'm going to find me some raw milk. People in Amsterdam are super healthy. People in Amsterdam are some of the healthiest people I've ever come across. They might be the healthiest population I've ever come across in my life, okay? And I don't remember if I ever did a YouTube video about that, because I think I got caught up, and I'm going to come back and do that when I get a chance. But very healthy people. And their raw milk, you can find raw milk there. In London, I went to the farmer's market, and the farmer I spoke to said he does sell raw milk, but he wouldn't have any for like 6 weeks. He told me that most farmers aren't doing it anymore. He said there's hardly any farmers that's doing it anymore. Then in Paris, I'm not sure. So if anybody knows if you can find raw milk in Paris, let me know. Because by the time I got to Paris, I didn't have my phone. My phone got stolen, and it was just I was a little bit off. So I'm not sure about the raw milk in Paris, and I'm not sure about it in Spain either. I do know in some parts of Europe, they apparently have raw milk machines, like vending machines, but it wasn't in the places that I went. And then somebody, John, one of my followers here on YouTube, told me that most of the milk in Ireland is homogenized. But I did hear, when I was in Amsterdam, I saw all these cows. I wasn't just in Amsterdam. I was in like towns outside of Amsterdam. And my train ride in, I saw all these cows grazing on grass. The healthiest cows I've ever seen in my life. These cows had really shiny fur, really strong bodies, all these healthy cow babies. I mean, I've seen beautiful cows, but these were the most beautiful, shiny, beautiful cows I've ever seen in my life. And people told me, oh, that's nothing. Ireland has even more cows and grass. I mean, because these cows were so beautiful and the grass was so green. It looked like a freaking cartoon, you know? I've seen that in California, but not like how I saw it in Amsterdam. And I heard that Ireland is even more intense than that. So for people, you know, anybody watching this video, if you consume raw milk, please write below what you think of it. Also, well, if you consume it, you probably like it. But please let me know where you find it. Because that's one of the ways, you know, when it comes to access to food, it's different every place you go. And sometimes people just don't know. And so let's talk about it. Like where you live, can you find raw milk? And if you can, where do you find it? The one place I've never been able to find raw milk in America was in New Orleans. In Louisiana, seems like that's like one of the only states where you just cannot find it. Okay, which is one reason why I'm not a big fan of. I love New Orleans, but like that city is so behind when it comes to health and access. So it's like number 50 on the list. It's horrible. And then I remember years ago, like other states in America have laws where you have to buy a share of a cow, and then you buy a share of a cow, and you have to drive to the farm, and you get a ration. Like everybody might get 1 gallon of milk a week and a pint of cream, and that's it, right? I did that in Ohio once. This might have been like 9 years ago. I was in Ohio visiting somebody, and we had to buy a share of the cow. We had to go drop it hours at the farm, and I used to be like everywhere I went, I was trying to get raw milk. I was on a mission. Even now, when I'm away from home for too long and I don't have my raw milk, I crave it like crazy. My body's like, I need my raw milk. It is a superfood, and I can feel how it makes me feel. It really is amazing. And so, yeah, like I said, I've never seen anybody have a negative reaction. I've never seen anybody not like it. It's an excellent way to get vitamin A, vitamin D, or calcium, good quality proteins. Whey protein is the best for muscle building and recovery. Excellent fats, MCT, CLA, and omega-3 fats that we need for our immune system, for our brain, for the health of our skin, cholesterol and stuff to make vitamin D. You know, and the calcium and the saturated fat, the omega-3 and the vitamin D all work together in terms of absorption. Like they all need each other. You know, you can't have calcium. You can't absorb. You know, you can't make and absorb vitamin D without saturated fat, without cholesterol. You cannot absorb the calcium without saturated fat and the vitamin D. Like they all work together. Okay. So, and I know the nut milks don't have those things. I have a video where I talk about that. And so I'm not going to get into that now, but check out, I'll put the other videos below for you to check out so you can catch up on that information. I'm trying to think if anything else I didn't mention. Like I said, I did this video yesterday. I wanted to make sure I said everything I said yesterday. I talked about access to different laws in different states and around the world. Oh, when I was in Costa Rica, one time I was able to get raw milk because I actually stayed on a farm. And the food system in Costa Rica is actually pretty bad. It's not like what people think. I'm going to do a video about that too because I know a lot of inside stuff about the food in Costa Rica. I've spent a lot of time there and all over the country teaching and not doing touristy shit, teaching the people, okay? And Costa Rica is really hard to find raw milk. But one time I stayed in a farm outside of San Jose, and because I was on that farm, we were able to get raw milk every single day. So I was able to get raw milk when I was in Costa Rica in that case. Wasn't able to get it when I was in Cuba. I don't know if they even consume raw milk in Cuba. But Cuba, you really can't get anything. And it's like, as a tourist, you really have to, it's like a different world. So if anybody knows about that, let me know. I'm trying to think of where else. I've been to Jamaica and Haiti. Wasn't trying to get it there, so I don't know. So if you live in America, not in America, please let me know about raw milk where you live. Is it easy to get? Have you had it? Please share your stories, testimonials below because that's how we learn. I'm always available to do evaluations with people, nutrition evaluations, training sessions. If you're interested in that, please email me directly at thebodyscientist81@gmail.com. I work with people from a distance. You know, we don't have to be in the same city. And make sure you follow me on IG at _body_scientist because I post a lot of things on Instagram that is not here on YouTube. Okay, so I think I said everything that I needed to say. Raw milk is a superfood. Okay, so there's, you know, and I really believe in educating people because the more the public is educated, the more there's a demand, and businesses respond to that. If people start demanding it, then businesses will follow. That's how it works, okay? We have to support our local farmers, your farmers markets, you know, and be educated about what you're consuming. Spend the time and the money seeking good food because in the end, it all pays off. Who doesn't want to age gracefully? Who wants to be sickly? People say everyone's gonna die. Yeah, we all die one day. But do you want to live the last 20, 30 years of your life being sick and not being able to function properly? Do you want to be one of those people that people see you 10 years from now and they don't recognize you because you look so bad? Maybe you don't care. I don't know. I care about stuff like that. So I take care of myself. And taking time to go find the best food and spending money on the best food is a priority to me. And it's sad because, this used to be poor people's food. Eating eggs and bacon and raw milk, those poor people's food. But now, in order to get good food, we have to spend so much money. It's sad and unfortunate. But it all has to do with the commercial food industry. These farmers cannot, people complain that Whole Foods is expensive and that farmers market is expensive, but that's because, first of all, real food goes bad. When you're using commercial food industry food, they've done so much to it to denature it that it's months old when you buy it. And so they can keep it forever. They can sell it cheaply. The government subsidizes the farmers that work for the commercial food industry. So regular farmers who are growing organic and doing the real thing can't afford to sell these super cheap prices. And people just think it's a conspiracy. Why is it so expensive? But that's why. The only way to avoid that is to grow your own food. That's a whole other discussion. If you don't want to grow your own food, you're going to have to pay for quality or be cheapskate, eat poison, and be sick. Cancer is the number one. Cancer is tied with heart disease. It's the number one killer of all Americans. The fastest growing rate of cancer is in children. I'm going to do a video about cancer soon because that's something that I've been studying for years as well. But make sure you follow me. If you learned something from this video, please share it. Please, testimonials are worth everything. Please follow me and let's keep it going, okay? Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you all have a great day. And make sure you try some yummy, yummy raw milk and let me know what you think. Bye.